first of all, for today, let's talk to our guest this week on our Meet the Team section. And you'll know this week's guest well already from some of our previous shows. This week's guest is Joe Lonergan. You're very welcome, Joe.
Good afternoon, Jude.
Good to have you with us again.
Thanks.
So tell us something, Joe, in relation to your time with NCBI. Have you been with NCBI a long time? Where are you based?
Yeah, well, I'm based in Kilkenny at the moment. I'm doing a lot of work from home because of COVID-19, but I suppose I'm with the company with about 16 years altogether, roughly, in different guises. I started off in the CE scheme, and then I started as an IT trainer in the Iona Centre, and I worked in different centres then. I suppose Clondalk and Dunleary, the training centre and different stages, and I taught ECDL and different things like that. So at the moment,
So
I'm working.
Had a very kind of experience with NCBI.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm here a good while. I'm part of the furniture now at the moment.
Yeah, very good. And you're certainly a regular on the live events as well, which is great. Tell us a little bit about life before NCBI, Joe. Tell us maybe a little bit about your background or the training you had or things like that.
I'm from Tipperary, and I lost my sight around 18. And before that, I was doing an apprenticeship in an engineering place where we made canopies for petrol stations and things like that, and we made conveyor belts and all that kind of stuff, and there was a lot of welding involved and things like that. But once I lost my sight, I had to give up that job and move on and try and find some other niche or something else to do. So I contacted the NCBI and I done mobility training, and I done a few courses which led on to computers. I had no real interest in computers before I lost my eyesight, but when I did take them up, I suppose I could see the potential in them, and they make life a lot easier. And we I suppose started using the first phone with talks on it. I can't remember the exact one. It was probably an N82 or something. But anyway, I know it could have been a 6630 Nokia, but whatever it was, anyway, you can see that opened the world to you as well, because you were even able to use the internet on the phone back then, around the year 2000. And I had a computer with JAWS, and so things moved on from there, and I done a teaching diploma, and I done a business administration course and a few things like that, and eventually I got into passing on my skills onto other people, onto service users, and things led on from there, and that's where my interest grew in the whole IT and assistive technology.
It's interesting just hearing that, Joe, because obviously we've heard some of your demonstrations and some of the participation you've had in the discussions with the live events, and it's always been very kind of high level. So it's interesting just to hear that your main kind of interest in both teaching and in technology came after you lost your sight.
Yeah, I suppose the only interest I had in computers before that was playing the PlayStation, or maybe a small bit with PCs in school, but I didn't actually own one at the time, so sometimes you grasp things. When you need to use something, you get more of an interest in it. There's not, well, at the time I thought there wasn't a lot of jobs out there for visually impaired people. There is a lot of jobs out there for visually impaired people. You just have to kind of find your way in life, I suppose. And the way I took was getting interested in computers, and it does open a whole kind of information there for you. You know what I mean? So once you have the internet, you can get a lot of information. You can do courses online. You can, they have nowadays. You even have smart speakers to get information right on the button. You know what I mean? So you can access things with your voice now, and everything is so easy. Like it's only as hard as you want it to be. Do you know what I mean? So even if you can't use an actual PC, you could use a smart speaker. You know what I mean? Or if you don't fancy using the laptop, maybe you can use the phone for nearly everything now. You know what I mean? It's like a little computer in your hand, or you can track you can track lots of stuff on your smartwatch or whatever your preference is. There's lots of stuff out there nowadays.
Yeah,
So kind
I
of,
think that's really interesting as well to hear from the perspective of anybody who might have lost their sight and finds technology a little bit daunting, that you've kind of gone from that point where you didn't have an interest before, but you've actually learned the whole thing to the point of having an expertise, a real expertise in it.
exactly, like I
All
think
after losing your sight is quite a comfort to people, I think,
I
as
think
well.
you could show other examples of people that had similar circumstances. Like I know Paul Trainer, he was very well known person in the NCBI. He unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but he was a block layer before he became a computer programmer and before he became involved in tech support. So it's not easy to change roles, and there's a big confidence block at the start, but once you get over that, there is you can get the drive and you can move on, and I think step by step. And as Miriam will show later on when she talks about doing type and tutor, I mean, if you know how to type and you know the keyboard, that's the first massive step to get over. Once you learn the full keyboard, I suppose, then you can learn keystrokes, and once you learn keystrokes, you can move on and you can use any application you want on the computer. So that's a very big step for people if they could start from there. Start at the beginning, as they say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be a good subject to talk about in a minute with Miriam as well. It is a vital one. Tell us a little bit more about your role in NCBI at the moment, Joe.
Yeah, I'm a role at the moment. I do small as a tech support. I also do virtual technology clubs, and I'm involved in the one in Dublin with JP at the moment. There's probably an average of 16 people or 14 to 16 people a week doing that. I also write content for the newsletter every week, so hopefully people are subscribing to the newsletter, and we're getting information out there. And JP is also, I also do that as a team with JP. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, and I also do technology classes with the Iona Centre still.
Yeah, very good. Well, that's kind of handy. Now people can put a face to the name and a voice to the name when they're thinking about the technology newsletters that they're getting through. Both JP and Joe are involved in that. So that's a really good, valuable resource that people are able to get now as well. So if anybody hasn't actually signed up for that already, anybody listening in hasn't signed up for that's something that's really highly recommended. You've been doing some content, of course, for the live events as well over the last few months. Have you enjoyed putting together some of the features for that?
Yeah, I did enjoy doing some features on with the smart speakers and things like that, because I see the way they can change people's lives, even if they're not maybe what they want to call themselves, techies or whatever. You don't have to be a techie to use one of those, but you can get involved in a lot of very high tech stuff. So you can use them to control your TV and even lights and doorbells and things like that. So I really enthusiastic about the smart home stuff and where that can lead us. So yeah, I enjoyed putting stuff together for the live events. Also enjoy using JAWS on a daily basis as well, and JAWS is getting better every year, and it's adding more innovative stuff. Like they're even adding smart voice control for JAWS as well. I think it's called Sharky. It's not Alexa or anything built in. It's similar, So they've I enjoy the innovations of all the different technologies every year, and I enjoy the way it gives you the same opportunity and inclusion to most applications nowadays for blind people. So.
Yeah, very good, and it's great to kind of have your input then for bringing that onto the live events as well. That's really good. We really enjoy having you on the team as well. So great to have you on this today as well, Joe. Good to be able to get a bit of time to chat to you. Thanks for joining us.
No, thanks very much.